Hey everyone, and welcome to Hooked on Needles and Crafts. Today we're going to be opening another packet from Annie's. For my returning subscribers, thank you so much for tuning in. And for my new viewers, please consider subscribing, share, hit that like button, leave a comment below, and click on that notification bell for future videos. So it's been a minute, but I am back to start off with some Annie's. I am going to finish the blanket, the Afghan, by the end of this year. So let's get back to it. Hold on a sec, that's the wrong pack. Alright, I have the right one. I have two of these blankets. The other one was a Moroccan one, and this one is the regular Afghan. In each kit, the first kit comes with needles. It comes with, I think it came with needles, crochet hooks, stitch markers. This one, thereafter, you get the 3 spools of yarn, or 2, depending on whether or not there's 3 blocks or 2 blocks. And then you get the instructional booklet. So you don't get repeats of any crochet hooks. You don't have to worry about doubling up, or I mean, like, you know, however many. To get this blanket, you have to get the kits. Now the kits are about $28 each, and when you select the blanket you want to do, or the project you want to do, it tells you how many kits there's going to be. So I think there's about 10 or 11 kits in this. So obviously times that by 28, and we're looking at a couple $100 for an Afghan. It sounds like a lot, but at the same time, if you do go to a true handcrafted store and buy a handcrafted Afghan, you're going to be paying hundreds of dollars for that. The only difference here is that you do learn the skill, so it's up to you what you want to do. So this is what it's supposed to look like. Cozy Cottage Sampler Afghan. I don't remember how many blocks there are, and I've done a bunch of them already. Oh, this is good because it's 7 through 9. Someone did request block 8. So I will be doing block 8 this week. We have in colors Honey Milk, Moonstone, and this one is Driftwood. I think there's the same 3 colors. But yeah, I can't wait to see this whole thing put together. Let's see which color we're going to work on. Due to copyright reasons, I cannot share the instructions. If you want to make this Afghan, I highly recommend that you go check them out on their website and get a kit yourself. So today we're going to be working with Honey Milk, this color, and we're going to be doing it's not necessarily a new stitch that we're doing, it's more of like a pattern stitch. So that should be easier than learning a new stitch. So if you have not seen any of my previous Annie's videos, you are starting fresh. Luckily, in my video, I will be teaching each new stitch at least 3 times step by step. Thereafter, I'm going to go my own pace. If you need to, there's a gear button in the corner. You can click on that and choose a playback speed. There's options for you to go fast or slow. If you don't need to hear my squeaky voice, I don't know why it's squeaky again today. You can always lower the volume on your device and then click on the CC closed caption button. But let's get started. Alright, so what I like to do is get the inside end of the yarn. You'll usually find something like this. They like to tuck the outside end inside for some reason, I guess to keep it from unraveling. But we're going to, oh, it's this one. Pull this out. And we're going to tuck this in under the label because we don't want to use that. if we use this one, we're gonna have to remove the little label banding, and then when we crochet, it's gonna spin all over the place, and I don't like that. So we're gonna grab the other end from the inside. So all it is just looking inside the cavity. If you don't spot it right away, you could check the other end, right? And then if you don't see it at the other end, what you're gonna want to do is, I'm gonna grab a random piece of thread here, or piece of yarn. Okay, it doesn't matter where. I could get lucky and I'll find the end right away, or I probably won't be lucky and I'll grab a wad of yarn out. Don't freak out, that's okay, because we're going to end up using that as long as you get the inside end out, and I'll show you why after I find this end. Okay, I'm going to have to dig in deep. I know, blasphemous, right? This one is difficult. It's not giving me. And sometimes there can be a knot. Usually they don't. Anyway, this is my wad that I got out. It's a lot, but I'll end up using this before too long, so you don't have to worry about that. Just find the other end. Now the idea about having that inside end is, for example, I kind of push this label out off center. You put like a little weight, or, to kind of keep it from pulling with you, and when you use this up, you'll end up pulling more yarn out of this thing, and see, it won't roll around. Oh, found another knot. So this was pretty knotted. Hopefully yours is not as knotted, but so you'll just keep pulling this out, and it, you know, as you can see, it's not rolling around or anything. So that's kind of what you want. So I'm going to set this aside. Right now, we just have to find the other end. Sometimes this is easy, sometimes it's not. I'm just going to throw all of this to the top right corner, and I'm doing this because you want your yarn, your feeder yarn, to be out of your way. And of course this is for righties. I see the other end, but I'm just going to unravel this anyway. That way I can make sure that there's no more knots inside this section here, so that we can go straight into crocheting without any problems. So if you've seen my previous videos, I've done some where it comes out right away, and I've done some where it's a wad like this but not as big. This might have been the biggest one actually. Alright, so this is what we're going to do. We have to start off with the slip knot, and I'm going to do this without a crochet hook. This will probably be the easiest way. So take your ring, pinky, and thumb and hold one end. Then take your index and middle finger and hold the other. We're going to hold on to this tight. This can be a little loose. Then I'm going to take my two fingers and I'm going to push up. We're going to twist down to create this loop. Then take your index and middle finger and we're going to pull on that feeder yarn through the loop to create a huge knot like this. Then we just have to tighten up the knot. So tighten up your knot, and as you're tightening it, you want to make sure that the end of the yarn here is as minimal as possible, because we want to not waste yarn. It's just a good practice to do. So tighten your knot by pulling on the string. If you can't manage to get it, you know, like this, that's okay, you're still learning. But try not to have like a huge tail, because that's a little excessive. But now that I've made my knot, I just pulled on my little tail here to kind of make it nice and snug. You don't have to pull it real hard. So now we just have to make this loop small enough, so grab onto the knot. We're gonna pull on the feeder yarn to make our loop small enough to fit a crochet hook. Okay. Oh my gosh, I thought I was knitting for a sec. Anyway, I'm not. Okay, so for the first set of instructions, row 1, we are using the larger hook size. They do give you 2 different size hooks. Now, we're going to learn how to do the chain stitch. The chain stitch is one of the basic stitches of crocheting, and it's very simple. So, what we're going to do is a yarn over. That's taking the feeder yarn and putting it over the hook. Okay, so we're going to take the yarn over and we're going to pull it through this loop. So pull the hook, hook that yarn over, and pull it through the loop. And that is it. That is a chain stitch. A chain stitch is made of 3 loops, and I'm going to show them to you. So if you look at it at the top, you have a loop right here and a loop on the other side, like right here. Then if you turn it on its side, this back hump is a 3rd loop. So a chain stitch is made of 3 loops. And this is good information to know later. Alright, let's do another one. So we're going to yarn over, which is taking the feeder yarn and putting it over the hook. Then we're going to pull this yarn over through the loop. So hook it and then pull it through the loop. So now we have 2 chains, and it's starting to look like a braid. And each chain is made of 3 loops. 1 here, 1 on the other side, then you turn it on its side and there's a back hump right here. Alright, one more time with you guys. Do a yarn over. So take the feeder yarn and put it over the hook. Then we're going to take this yarn over and pull it through the loop. So hook it and pull through the loop. Alright, so now we have 3 chains, and each chain has 3 loops. You have 1 here, 1 on the other side, and then we turn it on its side, and you have 1 back hump right there, making 3 loops. Alright, so now that I have showed you how to do a chain stitch at least 3 times step by step, you can go ahead and rewind this part of the video as many times as you need until you're comfortable making chain stitches on your own. I have divided this video into chapters, so you can just go into the description box below and click on the section that you need for easy navigation. Now, I highly recommend, if you are a beginner, to just practice making chains over and over again, no matter how long or short. You just want to be able to practice it so that you can practice consistency. Even someone like myself needs to practice too, considering this first chain is a little loose compared to the other 2. So it's always a good thing to practice. But for now, I'm going to go and continue the rest of the chains required for row 1. Alright, so now your chain should look something like this. And off camera, I'm just going to go count this real quick. Every time you finish a section or a row, you always want to double check your counts. That way you can catch any mistakes at the very beginning rather than the end, because it's much harder and takes more time to fix a mistake further down the road. Alright, so once you've completed all your chains, we're going to move on to the next section. So in this case right now, it's telling you that there's a parenthesis, and it's indicating that this is going to be the pattern stitch. So something tells me that these two different stitches are going to make the pattern. So that could mean a good thing. That means there's really two different stitches you're going to have to learn. So it might not be as complicated, but of course I'm going to be here to help you. Okay. Oh my gosh, not even say it. We're doing block 7. Lord. Okay. All right. So we're going to do this pattern, and this is pretty universal. So we're going to build the height of the next row. And because the first stitch that we see is SC, which is a single crochet stitch. A single crochet stitch is obviously a single crochet stitch. It's not as high as a double crochet DC, which is in this pattern stitch. And universally, it takes 1 chain to build the height of the single crochet stitch. So the instructions tell you to put your hook into the second chain from the hook. And that's, again, universal because a single crochet stitch is 1 chain high. So they want you to use the 1 chain, dink, like that. It's going to build the height of the row, if that makes any sense. So what we're going to do is take your hook. We're going to count second chain from hook. 1, 2. This one doesn't count. The one on the hook does not count. Now, I showed you the biology of this chain stitch. It has 3 loops. Normally, you would put it on one of these braid looking loops, but I like to keep it nice and braidy. I don't like to mess up with the braid. So what I like to do is put it in the back hump. So second chain from hook, I'm going to turn it on its side as I shown you previously when I taught you how to do chain stitching, and I'm just going to stick the hook into the back hump. So when you do this, you leave that braid intact, so we're not messing with that braid. So let's start our single crochet stitch. So according to the instructions, this 1 stitch is going to hold the pattern stitch. So to do a single crochet stitch, we're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull that through the loop, and you're going to have 2 loops on your hook. Okay? So now we're going to yarn over again, and you're going to pull that through 2 loops. And so we've just completed a single crochet stitch. That chain stitch here is for the height. Now this stitch I made kind of loose, but it will kind of even itself out once I start crocheting more stitches, so it should be fine. But what we're going to do now is first you're going to stick your hook into the same stitch. So where we put our hook into that back hump, put your hook back in there. Alright, sorry, before you do that, we have to do a double crochet stitch. So what we're going to do is yarn over, and you're going to stick your hook back into that back hump. Okay, so now you should have 3 loops on your hook. The first one, the yarn over, and then the back hump. So we're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull that through the loop. So we have 3 loops. Then you're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull through 2 loops. So you'll have 2 left. Then we're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull through those 2 loops. Alright? So those 2 stitches that we did are pretty much the pattern stitch. Alright, so for the next instruction, we have SK. SK means skip. So we're going to skip a chain. The next thing we're going to do, now this is where it may look complicated, but I'm going to help you. So we have brackets, and inside these brackets we have a whole lot going on. But what we need to do is just focus at one thing at a time. So let's focus on the first parenthesis. We have, again, single crochet stitches and decreasing stitches. So we've skipped a stitch. We're going to put our hook into the back hump of the next stitch, where we're going to be doing a single crochet stitch. So yarn over, pull up a loop, so you have 2 loops, then yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. Okay. Now in this same stitch, we're going to do a double crochet stitch. So yarn over, stick your hook into that same back hump that we just used, yarn over and pull up a loop, so we have 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over, pull through those 2 loops. All right, so inside that bracket, we focused on just the parenthesis. Now we can go focus on the next section of this bracket, and it has another SK, which means skip. So we're just going to skip a chain. So as we're gathering right now, we thought that maybe this bracket was going to be crazy. It's not. It's pretty much the pattern stitch and skipping a chain. So I'm going to show you, let's see, I showed you how to do a single crochet and double crochet 2 times. We're going to do it one more time. So skip your stitch. In the next stitch, we're going to put our hook into that back hump. Let's show you how to do a single crochet stitch one more time. So yarn over, pull up a loop, so you have 2 loops, yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. So we just finished a single crochet stitch. Then we're going to yarn over and we're going to do a double crochet stitch in the same stitch that we just used. So put your hook into that back hump that we just used. You're going to yarn over and pull up a loop, so we have 3 loops. Then we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through 2 loops. Then we're going to yarn over again and you're going to pull through those 2 loops. Okay. So now that I've shown you how to do a single crochet stitch and a decreasing stitch 3 times each, step by step, you can rewind this part of the video as many times as you need until you're comfortable doing these stitches on your own. But for now, I'm going to continue the rest of the instruction for row 1. And then we're going to stop at the last chain, and I'm going to show you what to do after that. And you know what? I do have sound going on in the background, so I'm going to do this in silence. Alright, so now that I'm at the end of the line here, our last stitch is a single crochet stitch. So let's do that now. And if you have a small tail like this, I always like to try to crochet it into the stitch. So I stuck my hook into the back hump. I'm going to lay my little tail here right next to it. Then we're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. And then we're going to yarn over again and pull through both loops. So I kind of crocheted in it. And it may stay there, it may not, but that's okay because we're going to end up sewing all these blocks together and we can hide it that way as well. But here is the first row. Now, if you're a beginner, what we do with this row is turn it, because we have to always have our empty stitches on the left side. And as we complete them, they end up on our right side, just like knitting if you do that. So now, one thing to note before we turn, because that is the last step for row 1, is in the parentheses at the end, sometimes instructions will have this to help you make sure that you are where you're supposed to be in stitch count. So in this case, they're telling you how many stitches you should have of each. So I highly recommend that once you finish a row, to go back and just count to see how many stitches you have of each, to ensure that you have the correct number of types of stitches for row 1. Once you've done that, then we can turn it. All you gotta do is take this project here and just flip it to the other side. And I did kind of like a back turn. Okay, so this is the front, and now we're just going to be looking at the back. All right, so from here we're going to do round 2. So for round 2, and this is pretty universal because like I said, for single crochet stitches the height is usually 1 chain. So we're going to chain 1, and then it looks like we have our pattern stitch to do next. So we're going to put this in the first stitch. What you can do to help yourself indicate the first stitch, and I'm only mentioning this now because I didn't think I need to, but maybe for the beginners is a good help. When you finish the end of the row, you could put the stitch marker that they gave you at the last stitch. So we're gonna put it just under the loops of that braid and close it up. That way, if you are the beginner, to identify where the first stitch is, it's where your stitch marker is. Okay, so we've chained 1, and then we got to work that pattern stitch. So let's do that now into the first stitch. As you see, I'm putting my hook where that stitch marker is, the first stitch. And we've already gone through this pattern stitch, so again, you can rewind the video if you need to recall how to do it. Okay. And then for the next part, we are going to skip the next stitch. So we're not going to be working in this one. Now, for the rest of row 2, we have another bracket. And you know what? This is exactly like row 1. So I'm going to complete this row to its fullest before the turn, and then we're going to come back in so that I can explain rows 3 through 25. And I'm going to do it in silence. Alright, so I finished row 2. Again, it's the same one as the previous, so you can also go back and count the number of stitch patterns you have and single crochet stitches you have to make sure that you have the right number of stitch types for row 2. And now we're gonna move on to row 3. So we're gonna turn our project again. We're gonna go from front, turning it to the back side. Now, in this case here, we are going to do the same instructions for row 3 through 25. Now, the reason why they gave you, I think, 2 packs of stitch markers is for this exact reason. So this one that I just put in, this one's going to stand for, it's the end of row 2, but this is going to stand for me, row 3. So now I have to pick my stitch markers up to 25. So if this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20. And I do have a mix of their stitch markers and the ones that I've saved over time, so they're all different colors. I think when they sent it to me, theirs were green and orange. And 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. Okay, I'm gonna I always double count large numbers like that because I don't want to screw it up. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay, I have 25. Now, let's do row 3. I'll do row 3 with you, and then I'm going to do the rest in silence. So we're going to chain 1 universal height for single crochet stitches. Then we have a bracket, so we're going to do our pattern stitch next. In the first stitch, so that's where this stitch marker is. And I've already shown you how to do the pattern stitch, so you can go to that section. I have divided this video into chapters. Then we're going to be skipping the next stitch, and then we have a bracket. And yeah, this one is pretty much the same as row 1 and 2. So I'm just gonna do the rest in silence. We are gonna pop in round 26 so that I can help you close this thing. So this one actually isn't that bad. I think you're just gonna have the bulk of it with me just knitting in silence, unfortunately, but I'll be right back to do the last row. Alright, so I've completed doing all the rows, and we're going to do round 26. So we have to switch out to the smaller needle, so I'm going to just make this hole a little big so I don't lose the stitch. Then I'm going to replace out to the smaller hook. Alright, we gather up some yarn here. Okay. Now, just so that I know, I'm going to take a stitch marker. And I left all my stitch markers in. This is going to help me divide my stitches later when I'm doing my edge, my border. I'm going to put a stitch marker at the last stitch that I made. Okay, so I can find where I'm going to end up. Alright, so we're going to chain 1, and then we have to evenly distribute single crochet stitches across this side here. So what I've done, again, I've left all these stitch markers on here, so this will help us kind of help us divide the stitches. Obviously each stitch marker is going to count for 1 or 2. You just gotta figure it out. It's always an odd number, so I don't like that, but I'm gonna divide this up. Alright, gonna get some more yarn here. I've shown you already how to do single crochet stitches. So you're just going to poke through spots on the side here. I know it's going to be a little difficult because there's not any distinctive stitches to stick your hook in, but you just got to be kind of patient and work through it. Okay, So I've done the single crochet stitches along the edge here. And then what they want you to do is to go around. We're going to pick a corner and we're going to do single crochet stitches in that corner. Alright, so now I'm gonna do the same thing, same number of stitches. This should be easier because we have some stitches to work with. I don't know if you remember in the very beginning when we did chains and I used the back hump to do our stitches. Now we're left with these braids, somewhat similar to when we were working our rows. So the other reason why I like to put my hook into the back hump after we do chains is because we do retain the little braids here. And now it's going to be easy for me to stick my hook in these. And it's going to be 2 loops, and I like knitting with 2 loops. So, all right. Right, and then I'm just gonna double check my count here. Okay. Then I'm gonna do my corner of single crochet stitches. So now for the rest I am going to do in silence. I'm not too sure how long this video is already, but hopefully it's not longer than 2 hours or too much longer than 2 hours, but I'm going to do the rest in silence, and then when we come back I'm going to show you how to join and fasten off. Alright, so I did all the single crochet stitches for this edge. I did leave the last corner out because I wanted to explain where we put the last stitch marker at the end of the last stitch on round 25 or row 25. This will indicate where you put your corner stitches. So if you didn't make it up to the stitch marker, something must have happened along the way here. But yeah, so I'm going to do my corner stitches. And then I'm going to show you how to join. So, this is the last stitch that we did from row 25. This is going to be the first chain that we built for the height, and it is stretched because we did pull it. This stitch is going to be the first single crochet stitch, and how I know that, if you look here, you think that this one is, well, you can try to look for what the single crochet stitch looks like. This one next to it has to be, because you have your front loop, back loop, and then there's these little two stitches here that we use to make it. So again, on this stitch looking like stitch is actually the chain stitch. There's no loops coming out of that, so just so that you don't get confused, but you want to put your join at the first single crochet stitch you made. So to join, stick your hook into that stitch, the top of that single crochet stitch. Then what we're going to do is yarn over and pull through all the loops off your hook. Then to fasten off, you don't need a lot of yarn, so I'm going to cut about an inch or so. This is going to be hidden away when we sew our blocks together, but after cutting it about an inch or so, yarn over the hook, pull through the loop, and all the way out. Okay. So then from here, you can just pull on this tail and tighten up this loop to turn into a knot. And then we're pretty much done with this first block, block 7. And then of course you would just remove your stitch markers. So that is it, you guys. We have started a new pamphlet for this cozy Afghan. Again, if you'd like to make this for yourself, I recommend that you go onto their website and get the kit. You can change the frequency from once a month to twice a month. And again, the kits are, or at least for this blanket, is $28, and that's including tax and everything. So the first kit I actually got on discount because I got it on Black Friday, so I don't know if they do first kit specials, but it's worth checking out. As far as the idea of this kit, I appreciate it because it's basically the same stitches over and over again, so it teaches you how to do these stitches in a block, and at that point you probably will learn a decent amount of crocheting on those two, in this case on these 2 stitches alone. The one thing I'm a little iffy about is that not everyone is going to be able to get all the kits just to get the Afghan done. I mean, it is $28 and it is a steep price. And yes, I have said that if you were to buy a handcrafted crocheted blanket for Afghan at a store, you'd be paying, you know, sometimes higher the amount of all these kits. But at the end of the day, some of us are just doing this to learn. Some of us are doing this on a budget. So it's really up to you if you want to do these. There are booklets at your local hobby store, on Amazon, somewhere online, that do the same thing for probably one price, the price of one kit. So I would look into that. But anyway, comment below, let me know what you think. I will be doing block 8 next. And then 9, I will be shuffling them between my itty bitty knit kits and Dollar Tree kits. I have to get those out. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. This is Hooked on Needles and Crafts. Please share, like, and subscribe for future videos, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks. Bye.